Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing? Love the way you look in the mirror and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from createyourself.today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. On today's podcast, we are talking about very dear to our hearts thing. We are talking about dieting, all different kinds of diets. It seems like the whole world is on some sort of diet, doesn't it? And some people, think that diets are necessary. Some people think that they're ridiculous. Some people think that they are unnecessary, absolute, that they screw up your mental health. Some people think that it's a smart way to eat. It doesn't really matter where you are, what you think about diets, but I believe that dieting can be a really great tool. I actually believe that diets, why a lot of people are on some sort of diet, because the world became complicated. The world of food became really messy, and we lost our innate ability to eat what is good for us. And part of the reason why we lost it is because it's the first time in history when we have so many food products. Like, your grandparents, like my grandparents, they didn't have all these products. So all they had was healthy food, and that's what they ate. They didn't have many choices. And so for us, I believe, for many of us, it's for me personally, the part of the reason why I'm on a keto diet, it simplifies things, right? We have, when we are on some sort of diet, we have some sort of rules that help us to make easier choices and most probably better choices than we would make if we had no rules. And, eating everything inside, everything that is offered in our food environment is really dangerous for your health. It's unwise, and I don't know, just not smart, because most of the foods that are offered to us, most of the most available foods, the easiest food to get, the most delicious or satisfying foods to eat. They're fast foods. They're foods full of preservatives. They're convenient foods. They're foods with really little nutrition value. And they make our health worse, and they make our bodies suffer. They create sickness in our bodies. They change the weight. And some people say, everything is moderation, but I personally believe, that we humans are not good at moderation, and if allowed, we would do the easiest, the laziest thing, and we would pack on calories like there is no tomorrow. That's just the way humans are, because we are wired to survive. And so for our brain, for our body, the more calories, the easiest calories we have, the better it is. And so if we have no rules, and eating in moderation is not really a rule, If we have no rules, then we're left to our own devices. And again, most of us are not great when we are left to our own devices and we have no rules in our life. They say that people who succeed the most in life are people who have values. But what are values? Values are your personal rules for how to behave in the world. And dieting is the kind of that rule around food that you have, that help you again to make easier choices, make faster choices. They keep you focused and more clear in this messy world. For example, if you go vegan or vegetarian, then you're gonna eliminate a whole bunch of foods, a lot of which are unhealthy. And then if you get further into philosophy of vegetarian and veganism, then you're probably gonna make even healthier, better choices than you would if you had no rules and you would just eat, whatever you see, a lot of junk food, a lot of processed foods. If you go on keto diet, right, you're also going to eliminate a lot of foods that do not work for you, foods that some foods might be okay for you, some foods might be good for you outside of your diet, right? But what I notice working with clients and myself and just talking to a lot of people is that people use dieting to simplify things. Yeah, we all want to believe that this is the best way to eat, but that's not really the most important reason. The most important reason is that it simplifies our life, and we already have too many choices to make. We already have too many things to think about. We already have this complication in our life. We want our food to be simple, and dieting, unless we get like into some, woods of too many details, sometimes dieting can also create this complication. But for most people, dieting is a way to simplify their food choices, and that's why diets are so popular, to kind of preserve that mental clarity, that mental energy, that sanity in, again, our complicated and messy food world. So that's why a lot of us diet, and we find our own way that works the best for us, and we stick with it for a while. And then, when it doesn't work, we try something else. But that's the core reason why I find most people go on any sort of diet, to simplify things, to make choices easier, to save time and energy. What do you think, guys? Like, at the end of the day, like deep down, why do you choose some sort of diet? Yeah, we want to, change things very often because something doesn't work, our health isn't working, or our weight we are not satisfied with, we just don't feel our best, we don't have energy, right? But we go on certain diet because those diets already have some rules, and it helps us to get better, making our choices easier. But to this point, you can also create your own diet. You can also create your own rules. You don't have to be on any specific diet. There is no that miracle diet that works for everyone and fixes everything. So you can create your own rules and call it, I don't know, Angela's diet, or Aaron's diet, or Anne's diet. You can call it whatever. So how would I start to create my own diet? We already kind of all do that, creating our own way of eating. But now you have full permission to do so, because again, no diet is perfect, so you might as well create your own that will work the best for you. The first question you want to ask yourself, trying to identify the ideal for you diet, the diet that's going to work for you, is what would you like to change and why? Like, the reason why you want to change the way you eat is because something is not exactly working the way you want it to work, right? So it might be as simple as, it's just too complicated and you feel like you have no control over your food and your health suffers, or you don't look as well as you want to look, or you don't feel that energetic. something else. Identify those things that you'd like to improve with your diet, and then figure out based on the best available knowledge to you. You can also ask for advice, someone like me. You can also schedule your express session with me, where I can give you my best educated advice as a nutritionist, as a health coach. So use that to create your own diet. And again, but the first and most important thing you want to ask to guide your dietary choices is, what is it you're trying to achieve? And what's also a great question, what's going to be the simplest thing for you to do? Because the simpler it is, the better it is, guys. We want to simplify things, right? We want to save energy and focus, not complicated, overcomplicated, and make it even more disordered, even in our already overcomplicated food world, right? So use the session, use the link in the show notes to schedule our express session, and I'm going to help you to design your perfect diet. Because again, no diet is perfect, but there is one, actually, the one that you create yourself, and it can be based on certain diet principles borrowed from other dietary principles. But then also you can make it completely unique, completely your own, completely something that works for you perfectly at this point in your life. So use the link in the show notes and schedule our express session. Thing number 2 I want to talk to you about is something that I found to be very interesting. I finished this book that I told you about yesterday, The Way We Eat Now, and it's all about how our system works, how it changed, and how it changed the way we live, the way we eat, the way we look. And so in this book, the author mentioned Brazilian food guidelines as being one of the best out there. Food guidelines that are designed by Brazilian government to guide food choices of their people. And I read through them, and I believe they really have something special. And so I wanted to share these guidelines with you. So dietary guidelines, Brazilian dietary guidelines. That are considered to be one of the best by many media, many magazines like New York Times and other magazines, by many authorities, nutrition authorities. So let's read through 10 steps to healthy diets from Brazilian food guidelines. Make natural or minimally processed foods the basis of your diet. So natural or minimally processed foods in great variety and mainly of plant origin are the basis for diets that are nutritionally balanced, delicious, culturally appropriate, and supportive of socially and environmentally sustainable food systems. Variety means foods of all types: cereals, legumes, roots, tubers, vegetables, fruits, nuts, milk, eggs, meat, and diversity within each group, such as beans and lentils, rice and corn, potato and cassava, tomatoes and squash, orange and banana, chicken and fish. So basically variety in all groups, a variety of foods, and minimally processed foods. Number 2, use oils, fats, salt, and sugar in small amounts when seasoning and cooking natural or minimally processed food and to create culinary preparations. Number 3, limit consumption of processed foods. And by processed foods, by the way, guys, because I read through the whole paper, they mean foods like canned beans or canned vegetables. They mean processed foods, but that can also be true part of a healthy diet. I'm a huge fan of canned seafood, of canned vegetables. It just also depends on how they're canned, how they are made, right? But in Brazilian food guidelines, first category of foods that is advised to eat mostly is fresh, whole food ingredients prepared in a healthy way with average amount with moderate amount of things like salt, sugar, seasoning, and spices. And then limit consumption of processed foods, avoid consumption of ultra processed foods. So they make a difference between processed foods and ultra processed foods, because even cooking is some sort of processing, right? So ultra processed foods, because of their ingredients, ultra processed foods such as salty, fatty, packaged snacks, soft drinks, sweetened breakfast cereals, and instant noodles are nutritionally unbalanced. As a result of their formulation and presentation, they tend to be consumed in excess and displace natural or minimally processed foods. Their means of production, distribution, marketing, and consumption damage culture, social life, and the environment. And I totally agree with that. Eat regularly and carefully in appropriate environments and whenever possible in company. This is rule number 5. Make your daily meals at regular times. Avoid snacking between meals. Eat slowly and enjoy what you are eating without engaging in another activity. Eat in clean, comfortable, and quiet places where there is no pressure to consume unlimited amounts of food. Whenever possible, eat in company with family, friends, or colleagues. This increases the enjoyment of food and encourages eating regularly, attentively, and in appropriate environments. Share household activities that precede or succeed the consumption of meals. Number 6, shop in places that offer a variety of natural or minimally processed foods. Shop in supermarkets and other farmers markets, or buy directly from producers or other places that sell a variety of naturally or minimally processed foods. Prefer vegetables and fruit that are locally grown in season. Whenever possible, buy organic and agroecological based foods, preferably directly from the producers. 7. Develop, exercise, and share cooking skills. If you have cooking skills, develop them and share them, especially with boys and girls. If you do not have the skills, men as well as women acquire them. Learn from and talk with people who know how to cook. Ask family, friends, and colleagues for recipes, read books, check the internet, and eventually take courses. Start cooking. Number 8, plan your time to make food and eating important in your life. So plan your time to make food and eating important part of your life. Plan the food shopping, organize domestic things you gotta do, and decide on meals and in advance. Share with family members the responsibility for all activities related to meals. Make the preparation and eating of meals privileged times of pleasure. Assess how you live so as to give proper time for food and eating. Number 9, out of home, prefer places that serve freshly made meals. Eat in places that serve fresh meals at good prices. Self-service restaurants and canteens that serve food buffet style, charge by weight, and that have good choices. Avoid fast food chains. The translation somewhere is a little bit off, maybe because, it's from Brazilian. But anyhow, rule number 10, be very wary of food advertising and marketing. The purpose of advertising is to increase product sales and not to inform or educate you. Be critical and teach children to be critical of all forms of food advertising and marketing. So that's it, guys. Those are Brazilian food guidelines. To sum it up, they make the difference between whole foods, processed foods, and ultra processed foods. And of course, they want you to base their diet on whole foods. Then they also make huge emphasis on the environment, where you eat, how you eat. They also advise variety and not snacking, but actually having meals, and I like this quote from the book that I encountered, The Way We Eat Now. Don't obsess about finding a perfect 100 calorie snack. Instead, get passionate about planning good meals. And I totally agree with that. So even here, no snacking, just meals. And then there is also, good advice to don't trust advertising. As I've been telling you for years, advertising is there not to inform you, to educate you, or take care of your health, but to sell your stuff. I think that our food system gotta change to become more ethical, but at the moment it's not. So don't believe advertising. Ask my advice or advice of some other educated people who are more educated about food. And guys, some people think that, or I know how to eat food, I know my food. No, you don't anymore, guys. I spent more than a decade studying it, and even I can't say I know it all, right? So you don't know a lot of details, and those details matter, again, especially in our confusing food world, food environment. That's just not the case anymore. Nobody knows their food anymore. People who spend time studying it, we know better, but we also do not know everything. And marketers, don't listen to any companies marketing on food and nutrition and what you should be eating, because at the end of the day, all of them are trying to sell you more stuff that is not necessarily in your best interest. So that's it for today, guys. Number one, we talked about why we diet, that it helps us to simplify things, and we talked about creating our own unique diet to help us to make better food choices and simplify our food choices. That's why most people choose dieting. So use the link in the show notes to schedule our express session where I'm gonna help you to create your own personalized, unique diet that's gonna help you to make better choices, make them easier, saving time, energy, getting more health, and looking and feeling better. And the most important question trying to design your own diet is, what would you like to change and why? Like, what is it you're trying to create to make better, right? So this is the first question. Brazilian food guidelines is an amazing example. You'll also find the link in the show notes to the full text of Brazilian food guidelines, and just look at them and see how your eating practice is different. It might be because of your culture, it might be because of the way you grew up, and think really, sit down and think how these food guidelines make sense or don't make sense, and how you might change your eating behaviors based on what you read. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to speaking with you at our express session, helping you to create your perfect way to eat. Simple, clear, that makes you healthier, fuller of energy, and more beautiful and enthusiastic about life. That's it for today, guys. Tomorrow we will be talking about habits and how to get rid of bad habits and get more good habits. So that is on tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.